Hey folks, Salty Seaman here with another interview with one of my best friends in the world, old shipmate. We've known each other for going on 24 years right now. You've heard me talk about him if you listen to the Tales from the Fleet. If you briefly listen to the previous one of these of him, I posted that the audio was real so bad I had to take down. You might remember him. My boy, Brett Bockhorst. What's going on, Brett?
Hello.
So with these Tales from the Fleet, I'm looking to interview people I knew, usually people I know, and try to get their life story. Like why did they join the military? How do they feel about their time? And and give some stories of what life was like in the fleet, back in our day. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Brett.
All right. Well, let's see. I'm 45 now, I think. Yeah. I'm 45, and well, right now I am in the middle of publishing my first novel. In the meantime, working a regular menial job just to make sure I'm contributing my half of the bills.
Where are you from? What's all that good stuff.
Oh, I am from, well, I always want to claim I'm from Washington, Missouri, but I'm actually from Union, Missouri.
You could say I'm from St. Louis, and I don't think anyone would bat an eyelash except people.
Well, no, I got to be honest. I'm a small town white boy, so.
Yeah, I claim Atlanta, but yeah, I mean, I grew up in friggin' rural Arkansas / Georgia, but I'll always claim Georgia or Atlanta.
Well, I mean, speaking of Tales from the Fleet, that's what we used to always tell people anyway, just to cut to the chase, because who in the hell in Japan has ever heard of Union or Washington, Missouri?
or Villa Rica, Georgia, or God forbid, Hardy, Arkansas. If anyone ever recognizes Hardy, Arkansas, I'm like, oh, you must be from my area, because there's otherwise you would have no reason to know that town. Or like, oh yeah, I used to drive through it.
Yeah, and I was the exact same way. It'd be like, I think once or something like that, actually ran into somebody who actually knew where the hell like Washington, Missouri was, only because like I think that they were like a student at like St. Louis or something like that.
Yeah. But we did run into a mutual shipmate of ours, or you did, at Walmart and Union. So small world.
Very true. Very true. Was not expecting that.
Shout out to Tony Wild. We'll get to it later because actually,
because he has something to do with the book, basically.
So little hidden little advertisement here. The book he's talking about is a book he worked very long and hard on for the last 8 years, and I did contribute a little bit and helped him edit and added some stuff myself. And he's real proud of it. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be independently published, and we'll get to that later. But first of all, let's start with your since this is a military channel. Let's start with right before you joined the Navy. What were you doing, and how did you end up making that decision?
Well, I remember I was just about to turn 19 years old. I was a freshman in college, majoring in history. It was a junior college called East Central College, and I was just so bored with how everything was going in my life, and I don't know. I wasn't doing that great in college because I just wasn't really focused on anything. So I just ended up saying, "Oh, hell with it. I'll just join the service," because I had been stopping by like the Air Force recruitment office and the Navy recruitment office. And yeah, the Navy recruitment office, it just sounded so much better because I wanted the chance to see the world. So yeah, I remember I joined, I want to say it was May 19th. The last big thing I did right before I left St. Louis was me and my friends went to a ZZ Top concert, the ZZ Top Antenna Tour. Pretty rocking concert. Probably at least my third most favorite concert.
That would be 94, May.
94, yeah.
I'm so good with years. It's ridiculous. I remember you saying like when we were talking about way back in the day. You said, yeah, your grades weren't so damn good that.
No, they weren't.
But cool,
But,
yeah.
you know, I'm sorry.
So I mean, like in comparison to like say you're from small town Missouri, about Union's about an hour change outside of St. Louis.
A little bit under an hour, but yeah. Depends on how fast you drive, of course.
Yeah. But yeah, you've never really, that'd been your entire life, and you were like, well, let me go see something besides, this town.
Missouri, yes. I'd never really spent that much time near the ocean or anything like that, being from Missouri. So, I'd always been kind of intrigued with the ocean. I think I saw it whenever we went to a beach in Biloxi, Mississippi, I want to say. I want to say that was the name of the town we were in. And I did go to the South Padre Island back whenever I was 17, I believe. But
wow. So yeah, you weren't a big ocean guy at all.
Not really, no.
Yeah, it's just growing up in Georgia, we were 3 hours from the ocean, so it was like my parents used to go like Memorial Weekend. They would take me down. Sometimes just random weekends we'd go to Daytona.
Well, I didn't have that option. It was more like a 15-hour drive for me. So,
and I've always thought, I think the different services attract a type. And and the Navy to me always seems like, there's definitely a certain mentality for people who are interested in joining the military, and the people who end up in the Navy, I think, is an interesting group of people from what I've met, especially compared to, the next closest I can think of is Marines, because I worked with them the most. And even, those guys definitely have a different mentality than we do, even if they're doing something like, my old job, public relations, public affairs.
Or yelling at you.
Yeah, well, but even
that was the main reason I didn't join the Marines, was the recruiter was like yelling at me or something like that. I was like, Jesus Christ, chill out, man.
They want people who react to that. At least they're not bullshitting you. Like I had a friend, Humphrey. You remember? Actually, Humphrey. Humphrey was.
Yeah, I remember Humphrey.
Yeah, he was. He was a Marine. He got lied to on his recruiter lied to him, basically, and he got out of boot camp, and he was motor pool, and I think he was going through motor pool school, and like they came to him and said like, hey, you can get out of the Marines because we just found out your recruiter's is going to court martial for like he was just trying to get his numbers up. He was telling kids and whatever, and he wasn't like that. He's like, no, I was totally he never lied to me, but I didn't want to be in the Marines anymore. And my uncle was he legit had an uncle who was an admiral, and he got put into he got switched back over to the Navy.
Wow, I did not know that. I don't recall having too prolonged conversations with Humphrey, but I do remember him. He was an IS, right?
No, he was a postal clerk. That's the thing. That's why when I originally met him, someone tells you their uncles, they got connections, their uncles in admiral. You're like, all right, buddy, whatever, right? He went through SKA school. That's why I knew him. He was a mod mate in Meridian, and he left before I did. But then he showed up a month after I got there, and I'm like, "What the hell? Why are you just now getting here?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I decided I want to be an SK. So when I was on leave, I called my uncle, and he switched me to PCA school, and I went to South Carolina." I was like, "Wow, I guess you're legit." But it's another story for another day. But yeah, he's a I forgot.
Well, I remember going to MEPS the very first time. The second time, whenever I actually got processed through on the 17th, that one was a piece of cake. But I remember the first MEPS that I was in. which was, I don't know, probably like 5 months prior to me leaving. Um, I remember I was so nervous. Oh my gosh, was I nervous? I mean, I think I dry heaved like 3 times
Wow.
when I was there, like run to the bathroom because a lot of MEPs is sitting there waiting. I remember you had to get there like at like 3 o'clock in the morning or something
Yeah, it
like
was brutally early. Yeah.
that.
Especially when you're like fresh out of high school, you're like, who gets up this early? This is ridiculous.
Yeah. So I'm like waiting there for like almost 2 hours with my parents or something like that, and or actually I think it was just my dad that took me there. But yeah, I remember having to sprint to the bathroom a few times before it actually started because I thought I was going to puke. But then I was too nervous to eat anything that day, so I had nothing to, well, heave. So so nothing actually happened.
I
But
just Yeah, I just remember like it was like I went there for the initial dep. How long were you in dep? That was in like 9 months.
DEP, remind me what that is.
Oh wow. The late entry program.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it was about 5 months.
Oh, okay, so did you do anything
Maybe
in
it
dep?
was like 6. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it wasn't that long.
And then to show them the newer guys who just went through or are thinking of joining the Navy, the difference in dep then and dep now. How much did you do in dep? Like
Before I left,
while you were in delayed entry programs, what did you like? Did you do your
nothing really.
BMR? Did you PT?
That's probably why I don't really remember it because
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the point. Yeah.
the, I think we went to the recruiting office a few times, and I don't know, they just really checked up on us to make sure we were still planning on going in. I think we did like maybe one or two not physical exercises, but I don't know, like going over like little test things or something like that. But no, it was they pretty much just left you alone
Yeah.
until you left.
I mean, I the only time I ever met another Navy depper that wasn't the guy I went to high school with was I went in the office to give him some paperwork, and another guy was down there doing paperwork. That's the only time I ever saw anyone else. We never had meetings. We never did PT. We never I think he gave me this stuff like, hey, you should bone up on the. Remember the stuff in boot camp? The 12 general orders. The
Yeah, I think that was some of the stuff that
I didn't
we
know any of that
went
shit.
over briefly was like the 12 general orders and stuff like that.
But you didn't
Um,
memorize them beforehand.
no, not at all.
Me, yeah, like I knew people who was like, yeah, I did the BMR in depth, and I did my basic seamanship book in depth, and we did mock PRTs all the time. I'm like, what in the I don't know. Maybe there are other places in the country that was doing a better depth program than the rural South, but both of us can tell you that we didn't do shit.
I think that they encouraged you to do it, like
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they said
those
like you
things,
should
but
you should.
they didn't loom over you or anything like that to make sure you got it done. They kind of just like, oh, here it is. If you want to do it, go ahead. But if you don't, you're gonna do all that stuff in there anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that was kind of how my guy was. He was just like, you're gonna have to. You'll probably forget it as soon as you show up anyway because you'll be so stressed. So just memorize it there. But yeah, he told me like I knew about the 12 general orders and the military alphabet was another one. Alpha, Bravo, all that crap. And the Sailor's Creed, which was easy. Like you get that one down. You get that one down pretty quick. It was the general orders will fuck you up though.
Yeah, but luckily, I think I was only called out on general orders twice. I mean, other than whenever it was taking the test. But well, let's just I get we can segue into boot camp. But
Yeah. Well, let's go. Like, so you're waiting with your dad to fly to. Well, yeah, I guess you flew. You flew to right up the
the
hills
Great
to
Lakes, yeah, I
yeah
flew.
from St. Louis. That must have been a short hop.
Yeah, it was. I don't remember much of the flight other than just being, of course, really freaking nervous. But
All right, so yeah,
I do remember I left with two other guys with me. I I remember this one guy kept talking about that he was Greek, and the other guy I don't remember what their names were, and it,
it's weird. I still
I don't remember anything flattering about them, so maybe we should just leave their names out. And if I do happen to remember them,
I still remember mine. I still somewhere I have my original orders to boot camp, and I pulled it off my first service record, and it was like, yeah, two guys named Adam Crow and Adam Polk.
oh, dude. Well, actually, I do remember one of the guys being named Corollas or something like that. And only reason I remember him is because I remember the drill instructor or the company commander CC would always make fun of his name all the time.
I remember them because they were both in my boot camp division, and none of us got ASMOD, so I think they both went aviation. I never saw it.
But I remember whenever I was in boot camp. Well, I remember one of the first, I guess, realizations of boot camp itself was the first time when they screamed at you, and that one was when we were putting our uniforms together or whatever, when we were getting everything issued and everything. And I remember this like first class came out, and he kind of nonchalantly, to start with, said like, put all your items on the floor. And then but he said it like so nonchalantly, nobody was really paying that much attention to him because I guess everybody else was as nervous as hell. And then all of a sudden he just said, like, put your items on the floor. Yeah. Like, whoa, shit, all right.
Yep. we got it. Yeah, right. Coming right off the bus is like, all right, everyone get in a line. And it said, it was firm but not yelling yet. And of course, you got 80 civilians getting off a bus. So of course, after 10 seconds, it's like, you can't get in a fucking line. What's wrong with you? Basic fucking shit. And I was like, oh shit, I'm in boot camp. That's right. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, and you have to march in line for the very first time, and everybody's saying left, right, left, right.
And I had the worst rhythm then. Like I never was a great marcher.
I absolutely sucked at marching too.
Another little interesting difference, and we only went about a year apart here, or a year and a half.
Yeah.
You said you called them company commanders.
Oh, well, or were they called RTCs with you?
Yeah, they.
Oh, okay.
Said that, I think at the end of your term, you said that they switched. Couldn't be called because they were called. You also said sir and ma'am back then, right?
Oh yeah. Except for the ones that screamed that they didn't want to be called sir. I work for a living. I got that once or twice.
That's inconsistent. That sucks. Because Marine drill instructors are called sir because they're fucking sir. I mean, that's just how it is. But yeah, it was petty officer. Well, I didn't have chiefs, so I had two first classes. So it was petty officer, petty officer, petty officer, and they were RDCs.
I had basically one gunner's mate first class. I don't remember what his name was, but I remember he was a gunner's mate first class, and a senior chief that did a lot for our company. Really nice guy, and he had a great name. I remember it was Senior Chief Likely.
He was probably senior chiefs aren't supposed. I think it's E5 through E7, so he must have made senior like while he was pushing boots.
Maybe I don't remember exactly, but
probably why
I'll always remember him as Senior Chief Likely. So yeah. And of course, the first classes and stuff like that. I remember my gunner's mate, first class. He basically said that you could just call him sir because too many recruits stumble over petty officer. So he
Yeah.
was all right with being called sir, but no, the senior chief still wanted to be called chief or whatever instead of
Yeah.
sir.
I don't even remember mine, but I have a connected story with this on one of my my lead RDC. He was RM1 Anthony Cade, retired ITCM Cade. He was friends with Anthony Tate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Tate asked me who
That'll be a
you
name
know,
later on, but
yeah, well,
yeah.
yeah. Tate asked me like, who was my RDCs, and I said Bordley and Cade. He said Anthony Cade. I'm like, yeah, 'cause I remember Tate had worked in Great Lakes before Blue Ridge. He's like, I know, man. I used to hang out with Anthony. He was a sloppy ass drunk. So you got this guy who was like God to me in boot camp, and I'm hearing about him going to the baseball, the Cubs game and or the White Sox game, and like falling asleep in his beer.
That's pretty funny, man.
Because yeah, it's such a different, hearing such a different version of that guy from boot camp. So I guess you never heard from your guys ever again, right?
No, I never heard anything from the gunner's mate first class or the senior chief.
He probably made the GM1 probably made, or back then it was GMM and GMG. You remember which one he was?
I think it was a gunner's mate guns. So yeah, GMG.
There's some old school for a lot of you people out there. So, any funny stories, like your most prevalent memories?
Not really. I mean, I really kept my my head down whenever I was in boot camp pretty much the whole time. I mean, I didn't volunteer for anything.
Yep.
I just did my best to remain as anonymous as possible.
Yeah. So my dad told me to do.
I did. I do remember one thing that I did distinctly. Well, actually, two things. I remember the first time I threw up in front of everybody, which was during cycling.
Wow. Yeah, you have a history of throwing up.
Yeah. Oh man, it was bad because I was trying to just eat nothing but like salads and stuff like that whenever I was in boot camp. I really stayed away from the meat, but half the time the meat was kind of nasty anyway. But yeah, I remember I was I think we started off with elephant jumping jacks, and then we after something like about 10 elephant jumping jacks, which is what, like 100 fucking jumping jacks. We went to we were all having to run in place, and I was doing my best to keep up, but then I just all of a sudden lunch just went all over right in front of me.
Wow. No, I don't remember anyone ever puking. We had a guy pee himself one time, standing around waiting to, like, first thing in the morning. Like, they made everyone go to, general quarters. What they called it back. That's what they call it when you go stand in front of your rack, right? I think.
Yeah, I remember that was a joke from the ship. We're like, well, maybe we should do general quarters like they did in boot camp and just stand in front of our racks.
Yeah, that was fine. I would be fine with that. Trust me. Yeah, we had this. I think he was Caribbean. Yeah, he was Caribbean because one of our RDCs was also Caribbean, and she used to love giving him shit because she could yell at him in their native language. It was because Bordley had no accent. Like, you were surprised. Like, you found out she was from Trinidad. You're like, what the hell? But yeah, she would go, like, she would always give that dude shit. And like, yeah, he was like first thing in the morning. We're supposed to be making a rack, but they come in to yell at us and put us at GQ, and this dude had to fucking go, and he just pissed his pants.
Oh man, no, never anything like that. I can't say, however, whenever one person pukes, 2 or 3 people are about to follow then. So after I tossed my salad, well, not in that sense, but
I hope you weren't tossing anyone's salad in boot camp.
No. Toss my cookies. That's what the expression is. Yes. Sorry about that.
Don't worry about it.
But after I tossed my cookies, then like I created a domino effect, and 2 or 3 others all tossed it too.
you've always had
Yeah.
you've always had a bit of a sensitive digestive system. I can attest to.
No. It's just I get nervous easily. I think that's a big factor is, I get nervous easily. Yeah.
Yes,
Not a lot of overconfidence. That's where alcohol really stepped in later on in life.
yeah, right there. You were my teacher. I was your paddle. You had a whole year on me on the ship. You were like,
I was senior
you were
seaman.
senior seaman. All right,
but so I do also remember one other time that stood out, and I remember this really pissed off my company commander. I didn't do it intentionally, but I remember I failed one of the tests that we took.
Academic or physical?
Academic.
Okay.
And
no idea how I passed all those. I never fucking studied. I guessed. I never failed a one. I figured they must grade on a real. Everyone else in my division must have been really stupid, and they graded on a curve. Is what I understood.
Well, I remember I got like 50% or something like that on one of the tests, and I was like, holy shit. And it was like a subject that I liked a lot because I think it was like over the history stuff.
Naval history, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and so
right up your alley. I barely. I know. I was like, shit. I passed that test somehow, but I remember taking it, going like, God, I bombed this.
But so I was like, oh my God. So I ended up. I don't know how I ended up figuring this out, but I remember I end up basically figuring out that they will assign you the exact same test if you sit in that exact same order that you were in. So, I remember I counted
if that still
out
works, if
people.
that still works, by the way, go ahead.
Oh, it does? Oh, okay.
Anyway, for our listeners who are wanting to join the Navy, that happens to you. Hey, see if that still works. You never know.
But I remember I like when we were lining up to retake the test because it was me and like maybe 15 other people. I made sure I counted out, so I would put myself in the exact same spot basically whenever I would take this test, and I ended up like passing with like a 98% or something like that. And the instructor was like, how could you go from a 50% to a 98%? Why don't you just do better the first fucking time?
Exactly. There's no winning in boot camp, by the way. So I was watching videos like the different military boot camps done through a D&D roll, and so one of the comments was like, no, you can't roll a 16. Every roll in boot camp's a natural one. That's right. You will never. There's no such thing as a crit.
Well, sometimes you can just fail.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a complete failure.
I said something funny. I was like, I forgot to shave that day, and I said something, in like we're outside the ship, and my RDC is like, it was Cade. He was like, Owens, what the fuck? You too good to shave today? And I said something self-depreciating that was funny, and he just like, man, go fucking shave. he was trying not to laugh. So if you can make them laugh, I mean, it's hard to make.
Yeah, actually, you can. I remember there was a guy in one of our sister divisions or whatever it was called. One of the divisions that you work with a lot. Like we were Company 181, and this was Company 182 or something like that.
We were 458 and 459. I was 458, and our sister was 459.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it was somebody in one of the sister divisions said something that made the chief not only laugh, but made like one of the inspectors that was inspecting them laugh a lot too. And they both liked the answer so much that they ended up giving him like one of the temporary crows that you get in boot camp or whatever. They made him they made him a second class and they called it like they gave him his own title or something like that, called like Ugly PO, because he said something
Wow.
self-depreciating or whatever about himself. And
I've never heard of honorary PO titles in boot camp. That's new on me.
but yeah, I remember when that happened with that guy. So yeah, yeah, he was called the Ugly PO or something like that.
Remember, yeah, I got in. We were getting beat, and they just my RDC Boardley. She was a CDO that night, and she just wanted two people to take her around with her on her grounds. Just having two guys from her division doing PT behind her, just as I guess an intimidation factor. So, my fucking luck, of course. Yeah, me and this guy and Ahar was an Asmo in. Yeah, we get picked, and so we're running around like I must have sweated off 20 pounds that fucking night. Well, we go into this one compartment and like something, we just missed drama of apparently this white guy was friends with this black guy, and like they were so chummy, like he was basically, using the N-word around him because, it was funny to them, I guess.
Wow.
But he was writing it on his like, you remember that big white book you would get, like, with all your tests, academic shit, study shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
and like he wrote something to him like, blah blah blah, and like they were writing notes back to each other in the book. He wrote like all N-words must die. This guy.
Oh my god.
Which to them was funny, but yeah, his RDC caught it, and he was like, "What in the motherfuck?" So we walk in getting beat, and the chief, it was a white guy, walks over. He sees Boardley. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna love this." And he walks over to get the story, and he turns around and looks at me. He's like, "You heard this?" I'm like, "Yeah, yes, petty officer." He's like, "Oh, we're gonna beat the shit out of this guy. You guys are gonna have to lead him." I'm like, "Yes, petty officer." Like, I'm taking you around with me all night. We'll see how much you hate N-words now. Which was great because it took the heat off us.
Oh yeah. Anytime there was people that took the heat off you, and I remember because as I said that I came there with like that Corollas kid or something like that. He the CC ended up giving him the nickname Carlos, even though his last name was Corollas, and he would always just keep calling him Carlos all the time, and it eventually drove this kid so nuts that he started yelling back at the company commander. Wow. So basically, by the time he started yelling back at the company commander, he wasn't going to last very much longer.
It's always a funny story to hear people, if you bring up your service and someone is like, I would have joined, but man, I don't think I could handle getting yelled at. I would have punched somebody. Anyone who's been to boot camp is like, we just kind of smile because they're like, no, you fucking wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't. Well, I have heard stories of people doing it on the occasion, but
yeah, I mean, but it's like the rare exception, and usually they end up in the fucking brig. So
yeah, but yeah, no. So whenever I was in boot camp, I really just kept my head down. The only time I ever kind of stuck my neck out a little bit was during the week of mess duty. And that was only because, you had to do so much cleaning and stuff like that. I was really yelling at the recruits not to touch the bright work and crap like that all the time.
I was midship hold. I worked a supply office. It was like the easiest fucking job.
Oh man, you were lucky. I do know one or two that were doing that. I was turnstile operator, so I was right there in front of everybody.
Oh, because people move jobs all the time that week. But yeah, I was in there with a guy. I mean, we did not like each other. We were like two opposite personalities. I could not stand this motherfucker. Some corn-fed Kansas kid, white dude. And but we guarded our jobs with our fucking lives because we knew it was way better in there than out there. We held that job the entire 7 days, and it was like, yeah, the hardest part was if we got really backed up, we'd have to go help the deep sink, basically grind down, leftover food. So other than that, yeah, it was staying awake because there was no door on the fucking office, so it was like you had to be awake if anyone came in to get some shit.
Yeah. You had to make sure everything was logged. Everything.
So graduation weekend, your parents come up, family?
Yes, they did. At least my mom did. I remember. My parents were divorced at that time, so right. Yeah, just just my mom did, and I think one of my aunts. I want to say it was my aunt Bev, but it might have been my aunt Nancy. I don't remember.
It's weird. My biological mom came up, and my grandma and grandpa. So
Oh,
my mom gave me my biological mom gave me my first cigarette in 2 months. I remember that. Like, oh, thank God. And my other parents were like, you shouldn't really take up that smoking again because you just had 2 months off. There's no reason. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
No, I didn't have my first cigarette after boot camp until I got to A school in Meridian, Mississippi.
Yeah. So yeah, you went the same. My first job, yeoman. What made you choose that job?
Oh, well, really? Well, I mean, I told the stepping back a little bit, the recruiting person that or the recruiter that I was into computers, and they had an opening for billet for YN, and I scored high enough on my ASVAB that they were like, okay, yeah, we can put you in as a yeoman and get you the Navy College Fund. And I'm like, Navy College Fund, what's that? And they're like, well, that'd be an extra like 20 grand on top of your Montgomery GI Bills. Like, wow, heck yeah.
You get to you get to the Blue Ridge. You just got told, you went through a very interesting, the recording was off there for a second. Can you give a brief rundown of so the recap? You went through A school. You weren't doing so good in class, and at the time they had a system where the class orders were decided by your position in class, correct?
Yes.
So the top of the class is going to get to pick whatever on that group of orders. Time to get down to US 17. You're told, it's like, hey, you're supposed to get the shore duty. But then the girl who chose the Blue Ridge, which at the time was all male, I think they were in the middle of transition. I think I was right when Tassie and Azalea and all them went there. You got told no, and actually it probably should have been yes.
Yes.
You end up having to take the Blue Ridge. You're taking a ship overseas. You go to Yokosuka. They fly out to Singapore. You get drunk as a skunk on the flight, and you land in Singapore.
Which, back then my tolerance was so low, so it was probably only like 5 beers or whatever. But yeah, no, I remember I was hammered on that airplane.
So what do you think? You get to they drive you over. Where are you at? You at the Tiger? You at the Terror Club, or are you at the World Fair Pier? Was there?
It was the one that was close to the Soap and Suds.
That's the Terror. That's the base one. Yeah.
Okay.
The Navy has a small supply-based depot and port in Singapore.
Yes, and a bar that everybody hangs at.
It doesn't exist. And last time I was there, it's not there anymore.
Oh wow, that's a shame. But yeah, no, I remember and the first person that greeted me was a female YNC, and I was like, what? I was told that there wouldn't be women on this ship, and now here's I'm getting greeted by one, so I'm confused here.
Wow. Who's your sponsor? Who's showing you the ropes?
Who did show me the ropes? Oh, Johnson. YN3 Johnson. Yeah, he showed me the ropes. He was kind of like a sponsor like you were, like I was to you. Oh, kind of absent and stuff like that for a
lot. You were the worst sponsor.
So yeah, he kind of just showed me around one day to different parts of the ship, and then I kind of really, I mean, only time I ever saw him again was in the office after that.
So he didn't take you out in Singapore when you got there?
Oh no. I think my first time I went out in Singapore, it was with Hanrahan, and I want to say it was Freeland before he got busted.
Yeah, but he was a YN3 and the
Yeah.
master. He was CMC Yeoman still there, or was he back in the admin office?
I think he was CMC, I do believe. But yeah, Freeland was pretty much the one that took me under his wing. Well, except for the period of time wherever he was restricted to the ship.
Yeah, not to put his business out there, but it's like 27.
Yeah. I'm not going to go into all that, but yeah, no,
he was an irresponsible lad.
But yeah, so he was pretty much, I guess you could say, my sponsor, and kind of showed me the ropes, of being on board and everything like that, which was I thought was cool because him and I would go out drinking all the time.
And see, it was for the office stuff. It was Hassler ended up being my real sponsor, and for like off ship, I was like, I was hanging out with Moreno, and I think that's when I met Gordon, and this, when I was also dating someone too. So it was like,
yeah,
I don't know. It was like months. I think it was like Ulchi Focus Lens before you and like Mike and all them kind of took me under your wing and said, like, all right, kid, you seem all right enough. We'll guide you through your naval career.
I remember it started just one night when Mike, we met up with you kind of just at I want to say it was the Mexican restaurant on base where we used to always drink Coronas or something like that.
Filipino.
Yeah. Well, it became Filipino, but it started off as a Mexican restaurant.
I only knew it as Filipino, so.
But we kind of just met up with you, and you kind of joined us at our table, and we just started bullshitting. Then we decided to go to the park and buy a 6-pack of Red Bull. No, not Red Bull. Red Dog. Red Dog.
So fucking bad, especially warm. Oh my god! By the time we bought it, I guess it wasn't that cold anyway. By the time we got to it was like the high school football field.
Yeah, I remember there was bleachers we were sitting at.
Yeah, there were bleachers at the high school. Yeah, because we tried to kick a field. No, Mike got the field goal. Remember? Me and you completely went wide. Mike was athletic. He really was. But it was by the time we got there, it was like half warm and sweaty, one of those sweaty wet beers, and it tastes fucking awful.
Oh man, it was nasty because we kept doing the one for the homies or whatever. We dump out like half of it, thankfully.
Yeah, I was just really pouring out half of it. I was like, can we get some better beer? Like Mike's like, fuck this shit. And he went out and we set up the fucking field goal, and I don't know, he didn't hit the field goal, but he came the closest, I'll say that. He was in a straight line. But yeah, I think he was like 20 yards short. But it was a tiny can, and the other two cans, me and you kicked veered left and right.
Yeah.
Fuck it, let's go to Buffalo's or whatever the fuck we end up doing.
Yeah. We always would end up at the Haunch or whatever. Definitely.
We're jumping a little ahead here. Before you met me, you were hanging around. Your buddies with our buddy Freeland, who only knew for a short while. I become a better friend with him on Facebook, because I only knew him for like 2 months.
Yeah. Well, he's
still cool.
Well, yeah, I guess he was on board shortly while you were
very shortly, yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever you made it. Freeland. I remember he had been stationed in Korea. He told stories about how, because we always bitch about, because I think Ulchi was coming up and he was leaving before that, but he was like, dude, I used to be stationed there, man. If you're more, more in, closer to Seoul, it's like the coolest place in the world. But
yeah, I remember all those stories too.
And he was like, yeah, but Shinhei and fucking, as I find out, Busan is a better place if you know where to go. But anyways, he was like, yeah, and he was like, you guys are nice seeing the good Korea. So.
But I remember Freeland was definitely the first person to really show me the ropes of everything. And I remember one time we had played because he had finally come off of a restriction, and I don't know if he's going to enjoy me telling this story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. But he was just finally coming off restriction, and and we were like, I was like, all right, man, let's go out and drink or something like that. And he's like, yeah, we can go do it. And so we stopped by the A Club and grab a bite to eat before we head out to the Haunch. And I remember he he's drinking chocolate milk and eating like fried chicken
You told me the
livers.
story. That's right.
And, he's
Chocolate
like,
milk
this
and
is
chicken
awesome.
fingers,
He's like eating these fried chicken livers and washing down with chocolate milk
It
or
was
whatever. I'm
like a
like,
shitload of chocolate milk too, wasn't it? I think that's
yeah, it
what.
was like 2 cartons of chocolate milk. I mean, just the little pint cartons or whatever, but
In
still,
fact,
yeah.
we'll tell the story later. But I think you guys told the story when you took me on my first day in Singapore on the Blue Ridge. But go ahead.
Yeah. But I remember I was like, dude, we're going to go out drinking after we leave here, right? And he's like, yeah, I got a handle on it. I'm fine. I'm like, okay. I just let him go. And yeah, he ends up eating and drinking all that milk or whatever. And so then him and I hit the Haunch and we're just partying and drinking for a while and stuff like that. And I remember we went outside to like smoke a cigarette, to decide where the heck we were going to go next. And all of a sudden, I just see his face just turned completely green or whatever, and he's like doing making this noise. I'm like, whoa! So I like kind of push him into an alleyway or whatever, and he just lets it all fucking go.
Probably that wonderful alleyway between Country George's and the main Haunch thoroughfare.
I could have sworn we were standing near that one
There's a little
club
alley
that
back, actually, yeah.
that bar that was kind of an off base naval bar. I forgot
that might have been gone by the time I got there. I don't remember that one.
It was like sponsored or something like that by the U.S. military, but I don't think it was actually any true connection by it or something like that.
Yeah, I think that closed before I got there.
But
I think I've heard stories about it. It sounds familiar.
Yeah, but yeah, we're just like standing right outside of that. It was kind of close to Popeyes. I remember that. It was kind of close to where Popeyes was. So
yeah, that place was closed when I was there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I knew exactly what all the bars around Popeyes were. Trust me. I was so surprised when I went back a couple of years ago. Like I walked past it because it was just like, for some reason, I thought it was further closer to the station, but it's like actually like right on the corner when you're turning. And it had a new door, like it was like a double a split half door. So the front half was open and the bottom half was closed. And I walk by, and I'm looking for it. I'm like, where the fuck is Popeyes? I'm like, oh shit, here's Popeyes.
I probably wouldn't be able to find it now anyway. I think you were the one that actually brought me to Popeyes the first time because I used to not go to it.
I came on board like a year and change after you.
Yeah, you're right. No, I think Freeland and I actually frequented there every now and then.
I might have increased your going there because I love fucking Popeyes. That was my.
Oh, I ended up loving it too. Don't get me wrong. But I just remember not going there so much in the beginning. I usually hung out at Buffalo's and Country George's. I want to say
if you're trying to hook up with girls, you're trying to hook up with girls. Buffalo's is way better than Popeyes. I mean, I would not blame you. But like in the middle of the week, I was a heavy metal kid, and like all he did was play heavy metal videos. The place was grimy, fucking nasty, and he had the cheapest fucking drinks. I was like,
and they were strong as hell. Oh man, they were so strong. Or at the time when we first brought Eastman there or something like that, and he ordered like a Jack Daniels and Coke or something like that. And he poured something like 5 shots of Jack Daniels in one glass, just like a splash of Coke to make it look somewhat like a Jack and Coke.
Well, in the house special was the Suffering Bastard, which by my recollection is equal parts gin, vodka, lime juice, and ginger ale with a lime in it. Correct?
I don't remember it ever having a lime in it. No,
that might have been optional. But yeah, it was. But yeah, it tasted like you really didn't taste the alcohol at all.
No, you didn't. Oh man,
ginger ale covered it so well.
They got, and yeah, you could drink 4 of them and not knowing that you're drinking that much alcohol, and you'd be smashed.
I'm pretty sure my first time there was with Mike, and Mike was like, he let me know, and I had two. And like I remember like nearing the end of the second one because I was going a little slow, and I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, this shit's strong." That's
Heck
what I
yeah.
remember really accurately. But I also witnessed some dudes go in there like trying to be fucking tough guys, man, and fucking fall. They fall hard.
Oh yeah.
This dude, it was a mobile. Remember, the mobile bay was like that was their hangout when back in those days. USS Mobile Bay was a destroyer frigate in our battle group, right?
Yes. From what I remember, yeah.
Yeah, they did a big graffiti in the bathroom. Mobile Bay owns this fucking bar that was up there forever.
It didn't matter anyway because we were there all the
Right,
time.
right. Yeah. If the carrier was in, fuck you. It's like they overtake everything. But
Oh God, yeah. It would always be so nice when the carrier was gone.
I remember it was this two African American gentlemen. One was new. He wasn't new to the Navy. Both of them looked like they were like E4, E5s, so like second tour guys. And he's like, and one guy's bringing him in. Is like, was like, this is the place for like cheap drinks. And I think I think this guy was like, I'd seen him before. I think he was a rock guy.
Uh-huh.
This dude was like, man, he's like, yeah, so this is a place with the strong drinks for like cheap. He's like, yeah, it's the suffering bastard. And he fucking takes it and downs it in like about 5 seconds. The dude could drink. And he's like looking at him, smiling, like, dude, you don't want to do that. And he's like, fuck, this shit ain't shit. Fuck you and your dumb drinks. Inward, blah, 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 blah. Like he's got the fucking this guy is completely like, just this ain't shit, this is like Kool-Aid, fuck this bullshit. And the dude's just staring at him. He looks over at me and I'm drinking one and I'm like, I toast him. I'm like, he like, gives me the knowing nod, like, keep watching. I'm like, I'm watching. He gets 4 in and he took these in 10 minutes, 4 fucking suffering bastards. And 10 minutes later, he is out on the goddamn bar stool. He had a disposable camera on him. I mean, you can imagine nowadays, like everyone would have a camera phone on him, but this guy, this guy brought his disposable camera just in case, and boy, I helped pose him a little bit, got down and posed with him. It was one hilarious. I love tack. Yeah, that ain't shit, huh? Let me tell you something. Suffering bastards are strong. At least it's about half the cup. It's about the size of a solo cup. Half of it is liquor.
Yeah.
But you don't taste it at all.
You don't taste it at all.